Good evening everyone and welcome to the SRS GT3 series. We are here for Season 2, it is round 4 of the championship as we take in the Interlagos circuit, the Autodromo de Interlagos to be its official name, and we are here of course in Brazil. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through this stream as always, and as you can see we've already had a change up in some of the drivers, so let me run you through what we know of the driver lineup coming into tonight. Tice, as you can see there, is in the Dodge Viper. Now SRS Motorsports have now formed an administrative side on essentially. Dodge Vipers are now going to be run by both Tice, I should say, and Formula Marcello. Marcello is going to be in that car as well. Tice just returning back into the pit lane. There's Marcello coming out of the pits as well. And the other change for tonight is SDM Reds in the BMW M3 Volkenhurst livery in the Speed Demon Motorworks car, this motorsport car I should say, and hopefully he'll be delivering a good time. Of course, he is a former commentator here in SRS GT3 series. Goodness me, I've literally just came from watching the F1 and I don't know what I'm talking about, to be honest. Palmer though out on top currently in qualifying, 30.5 in terms of the practice times. Of course, we're getting qualifying underway in just a couple of seconds, hopefully. We are about 2 minutes away. Let me run you through though the driver standings coming into tonight. Black leading the way after his 2 wins in a row in Sardinia and Monza, on 96 points leading the way. Tice is in second on 62 points, with Palmer in third on 51. CO fourth on 49, great to see him back as well tonight. Splash in fifth on 44. Then Doug then Hairazor I should say in sixth on 30 points. A little bit of a change up in the standings. Doug on 40. Hang on, that's not right. 26 points in seventh. Marcello is in eighth, and I'll just put into the chat here now. There we are. Marcello in 8th on 27 points, with Bullfisher Dar in 9th on 24, Volschweitzer in 10th on 16, Petrolhead in 11th on 8, Tap in 11th, I should say, on 9, along with Bar. They're ahead of Petrolhead, who's on 8 points, Superboy on 6, K&K Dot on 6, and SDM Viper on 4 points. And hopefully we're going to be seeing a good race out on track. 13 drivers, as you can see here, out on track tonight at the Autodromo de Interlagos. And hopefully I'm going to try and pronounce some Brazilian corner names for you guys as well. Team standings have been done. Team Simpac Racing currently lead the way on 145 points. SRS Motorworks AMG are in second on 113. Costa third on 56. Speed Demon Motorsport in fourth on 44. Top Performance Motorsport in fifth on 24. Sabito Racing in sixth on 16. And Winding Road Racing in seventh on 6 points. And that is the team standings done for you. I'm sure that'll be updated as well for next week. In terms of the Vipers, of course, of Tice and Marcello, and they're looking quite on the pace early on. Good to see CO and Black here, by the way, our defending champion, of course, as we start qualifying in just 10 seconds. Hopefully, we're not going to see a bit of a pit glitch with CO, but we're right on board, of course, as we now begin this qualifying session for the SRS GT3 Series Round 4 of the Championship here in Interlagos. And that is a fantastic screen to welcome us on board to. There is Tice coming out of the pit lane now. He's going to be first. I'm just going to go on board with CO, see if he's going to exit the pit lane fine today. And he does, yeah. So CO is out of the pit lane fine today. And everyone looks like they're coming out of the pit lane. Tice on the exit of the pit lane, coming up towards turn 4, which will be Descida del Lago. And Descida del Lago, of course, infamous for Vettel spinning in 2012, if you remember. Ayrton Senna also winning a Grand Prix around here in 1991. Much missed, of course, Formula 1 driver. And Tice is on a lap as he now unfolds around here at Interlagos. Up the hill towards Ferradura. You can see the lake there in the background. And Tice now coming up the hill. Highest point on the track as he comes through SA at turn 8. And this is SA coming through turn 8 now. And Tice now running downhill through Mugello. Pinero, sorry, and then towards Pico de Pato, which is at the top of the hill at turn 10. There's only 15 corners, I think, out on track, 10 to the right and 5 to the left, if I'm not mistaken. You can count them up as we go along here out on track tonight. Tice though, readying up for a lap. We're right on board. directly from his point of view on this camera angle here, and Tice now will begin off a lap. Recently changing to the Dodge Viper, of course, SRS Motorsports now deciding to go for the Viper as opposed to the AMG. Must stress that Palmer is still in the AMG, and now Tice takes this thin line through the final corner, through the Subida boxes, and now up towards Curva 1 at turn 1, out on track, and then through the Senna S's. Tice really fighting the car through turn 1, and now through turn 2, and then through turn 3, a covered assault, just runs over the curb slightly, can put a little bit of a penalty onto your time. Now Tice coming through down towards the seat of Interlagos and towards the end of the first sector split, so we'll see how quick he is early on, as we are already 2 minutes through qualifying. 22.9 through the first sector, should go around 22 seconds, 22 sixes I think, as we go further on into the session, I would imagine. Tice now running up the hill towards Ferradura and Laranja, and Tice now coming through this double right-hander through 7. And then through 8, Jono Trulli and Alonso coming together, of course, there in 2009, if you remember, all the way back. As Tice cuts the corner at the top of the hill. Now through Pinheiro, and now down the hill towards what is Pico de Pato. And there are different versions of this track as well. There's another different version which is for stock car racing. Of course, for the GT3 series that we're showing you here tonight, we're just using the normal Grand Prix layout as they're using Formula 1. And there's obviously talk at the end of this season, of the current 2020 Formula 1 season, where this track, Autodromo de Interlagos, was going to be replaced by the track in Rio. That's now not the case. I think Interlagos has signed a new few-year contract, so that's going to be run at least until I think 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Tice now running toward the line and looking really good on this lap. And what's his lap time going to be across the line? 30.6, really good lap time off the bat. Volschweitzer and Splash coming across the line as well. Splash going second there, a 10th off. Superboy towards the line. Reds as well towards the line on the BMW, not looking too bad, and goes third. Nice lap from him. Marcello goes quickest. Let's see as we try and run on board with Palmer further down. Palmer through the final corner. Is he going to be quicker than Marcello? 30.5 to beat. Yes, oh, by a margin as well, 30.3, and Palmer, they might have went to the Vipers, but honestly, I think the Mercedes is quicker around this track, and Palmer out on top from Black, second, Marcello third, early on in qualifying, not even half the way through just yet. Black has picked up a 5-10 penalty, I think, on his down lap, and he served that up now. CO as well on a lap, just in behind Marcello out on track. And there is CO and Marcello running through. Hair Razor there down in 11th as well. But currently, as we've run through the whole field, it is a second separating the top 10. The whole field separated by 1.9 seconds, which is not too bad around this track at all. Going to be quite close in terms of qualifying. There is your pole sister currently in Palmer, and Black in second and Marcello in third. And Black, you can see, is wasting away his fuel. Wants to try and get another run in. The more fuel he wastes, of course, in running the high revs, the more chance he's got of setting the quicker lap than Palmer, so that could be quite interesting to see. Let's see how Tice is getting on through. 30.6 is his lap time. I don't think he's going to be up on that. That's both for Shadara and Superboy and the likes ahead of him out on track. Both for Shadara currently 9th, Superboy in 12th. No Petrolhead, by the way, here tonight. He's decided to retire from the series as well. We do wish him well, though. I am sure, and I know he was trying to be right here in at the deep end to try and get the action done. Not here tonight. He is retired from the league, but we do wish him well, of course, and hopefully we'll see him back on the grid very soon as Tice comes out the pit lane. Still Superboy improve on his lap there as well. 5 thousandths ahead of Hair as he runs very much out wide on the Aston Martin for Winding Road Racing. And Winding Road Racing going around plenty of corners here tonight, but they're hoping to try and put on a better performance within the team standings. And there is only one driver within that team, of course, that being Superboy. Tap just there. Palmer into the pit lane, and we're under halfway through qualifying. Palmer right on top, Black in second, Marcello in third. Not many improvements so far, but there's quite a lot of traffic, I think, now out on track as Tap is just ahead, has picked up a 5-10 penalty for running wide, serves that right in front of Tice, and the penalty zone, by the way, is through turn 3 and 4, so Tap actually, I think, might get a penalty for that. I don't think he realises that the penalty area, certainly within qualifying and in the race, is through turn 3 and on the exit through towards turn 4. That is the penalty area we have out on track. We're right on board with Marcello getting out of the way. 4 minutes to go. Tap might be at a little bit wrongness of the penalties, or certainly with the stewards at least. Palmer coming out the pit lane. 83 litres of fuel in that car. Black there, you can see, not on lap just yet. But we'll try and run on board with somebody that is. CO, I think, is coming back into the pit lane. And Palmer still out on top, of course. There is CEO coming into play. Then good to see him back out on track as well from last week's disaster in Monza where he couldn't race. Palmer, of course, disconnecting late on as well. Hopefully no Christmas lights are going to be switched off this week. But we'll have a look out on track, see who is further on. Tice is one of the first out on a lap. And he now comes through turn 1. Now through the SRS at turn 2. And then through the Cover de Sol at turn 3. You can see how much running off the camber of the corner really costs you the time. Try to stick towards that inside as much as possible because it does get you the best run. Already Tice is down on his lap time. He catches the grass as well. That's not going to fill him up with any confidence. He might back out of this one, to be honest. But let's see if he can improve. He's got less than 75 litres of fuel in that car. Tice now running up the hill in towards Ferradura and Loanhina. At the top of the hill, through 6, through 7. Now towards the top of the hill at turn number 9. And this is through the SA corner, and he has backed off. Tice has now backed off, so it means we can go on board with somebody else that is on a lap. And nobody just yet, but Hairraiser is on a lap. Palmer's just started one, but Hairraiser I think is furthest on, along with CEO, who just came out the pit lane. Let's run on board with the Mercedes man, Hairraiser, who of course had a really good battle with his fellow Mercedes man of Splash. Splash further up the field, even qualifying so far. He's 3/10 down on this lap currently. Let's see what he can do. 2 minutes to go in qualifying. We'll focus, of course, on our major championship contenders very soon. Black is halfway through a lap. Marcello is there, and Marcello is going to be one of the first to come across the line. But we're right on board with Hairraiser. He's got Bo Fishadara just in front of him. Marcello's probably about 5 seconds behind him. Doug as well, just about to go on to a lap, I believe. Hairraiser across the line. Doesn't improve on his lap. Let's see what Marcello is doing now, as he now comes up towards the line. Is he improving? No. Very hard to improve when you don't get a lap in around here. Black now up the hill in towards the final corner through Subida dos Boxes, and now Black towards the line. Let's see what he can do as he runs through 10-15, the final corner out on track, and Black now to the line. Can he defeat Palmer? Oh, nearly 700ths off. Really good lap there from him. We've got CEO on a lap coming through the first sector as well. Should see plenty of improvements coming up on the left hand side of your screen, by the way. If there's any more, we'll try and update you as we can. There's nobody immediately coming towards the line, so CEO currently on a lap. 3/10 down on Palmer's time at this moment in time, but it's really close between the top 5, in fact. Less than 3/10, just over 3/10 of a second separating these guys out on track. I'm not sure where Palmer is. Palmer, don't think he improved on that lap. CEO then ran the final couple of corners in this middle sector. He's on a very nice lap. I think he might have backed out of the lap though. No, he's 2/10 up. So CEO really responding to this lap. Catches a little bit of grass there on the outside. Doesn't get the best run out the final couple of corners through Young Cow. And now through Subida de Boxers. Splash has gone up into 7. Volschweitzer as well improves on his time. Seal then toward the line. Can he improve? 20 seconds on the clock when he comes toward the line. Can he defeat Palmer? Seal across the line. Oh, he goes 9 thousandths off him. Really close indeed. Black is coming through the middle sector. He's a 10th and a half down. Black a 10th and a half down on Palmer's time. Tice goes up to 4, 300ths off him. Marcello was on a lap as well. He's just started one. In fact, he's run out one. He spun. Marcello spins, coming through turn 1. Tice has contacted him as well. Black now around the final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. Tap across the line does improve. 31.7. Now Black to the line. Doesn't improve. That's all he can do. Palmer now through the middle sector. He's not improving at all here. He's a second down as Palmer. He must have had a moment out on track. So I don't think anybody immediately is going to be improving. Palmer, though, will be the next one to come across the line. I think we've got Reds and everyone, and Splash and Doug also on lap times. Marcello back into the pit lane. But Palmer now comes up towards the line. He's not going to be improving on this lap, I must stress, unless he's found an absolute godly final sector. Across the line, Palmer comes, 1.2 seconds off in the end. See if there's anybody else on a lap. We've got Splash coming through the final corner. Splash running a new livery, I think, here tonight. And he comes up the hill, and he's actually running the new back of that car, in fact. And it's a very nice looking livery. Splash now towards the line. Can he make an impact? Can he dive his way into P1? Across the line he comes. He doesn't improve in the end. SDM Reds now towards the line on the BMW M6. He is improving, I think. Across the line he comes. Just off. 2/10 off. Volschweitzer has done both for Shadara, and Hairraiser now to the line. Bow's getting a really good tow here. Could improve on his lap time. 31.3, Bow for Shadara across the line. He does improve, but he doesn't improve his position. I think that is qualifying pretty much over and done with now. We are just waiting on the final drivers to come across the line. I think it's Tice to come across the line. And that will be the end of qualifying as he spins across the line. And Marcello in the pit lane we're just waiting on as well. But that is everyone done. And Palmer out on top by 9 thousandths of a second. He's got the two Swedes right in behind. Theo in second, Black in third. Viper might not be necessarily a good car around this track because the Mercedes has beat them all. Tice there in fourth as well, Marcello in fifth. End of qualifying has come. And Palmer there out on top. You can see Theo, Black, Tice, Marcello, Doug, 4.5 tenths separating the top 6 out on track. And here we go. For round 4 of the championship, it's the SRS GT3 series. What a privilege it is to bring you the action once again. You can see all the flashing lights. Palmer out on top, Theo in second, Black in third. Really short run down towards turn 1 here at the Autodrome de Interlagos. And we are getting prepared for the 5 red lights to go out very soon indeed. An hour's worth of action awaits us here out on track. Hopefully everyone will get off the start. And we are just about to get going here for round 4 of the championship in the SRS GT3 series. And it's lights out and away we go. Palmer gets a very good start. I'm going to have to try and spectate out of this quickly to try and get the run down towards someone. Palmer cuts across. Tice actually getting a good run there, but Palmer leads in towards someone. Seal there second. Tice on the inside line in third. No contact further down the field. A little bit of scrimmaging between Black and Tice. Tice is on the inside line. Looks like he's got him. Yeah, Tice is up to third. Great move. And now Marcello trying to get on the act as well, but Palmer's strolling on the way. He's stolen the march out in front from Seal in second. Tice splitting them in third. It is side max against TSR right here, right now, out on track further down the field. Somebody running wide there. I think that might be, if I'm not mistaken, that might be both for Shadara going wide. Possibly it was Tap and Volschweitzer. Volschweitzer was the one that ran wide in the Lexus. Both for Shadara down in 11th. Subaru trying to find up the inside of Reds, but not close enough. Really good racing so far though. Out on track as Marcello tries to dive Black down the inside, coming towards SA, and he's around the outside through turn 9. This will be a brave move. He can pull it off, Marcello. Black on the inside line though, gets the traction. Marcello now side by side. Gonna try and get his ear in. Down the inside, the Italian goes, and he gives the position back. Brilliant stuff by Marcello. Gets the move done, and now Doug in that Mercedes right on the back. Splash, hair raiser. Honestly, Viper against Mercedes really beginning to dominate, but Palmer leads by 8.5 tenths of a second, 9 tenths of a second. That gap is pulling away here in Interlagos from Palmer second. Tice there in third, beginning to close in now on Seal, who was ahead of him. We'll be coming towards the end of lap 1. Palmer leads from Theo in second. Tice in third. Tice to the inside line. He's going to dive it down the inside in towards curve 1, in towards turn 1, and Tice has got the move down the inside. Marcello trying to get Black there in the background as well. Black holds on to fourth. Doug and Splash trying to fight his way through as well. We'll take this from Doug's perspective. Out on track, there is Splash trying to get the run down the inside line, but side by side, 2 by 2 almost, as we go Noah's Ark formation. Down in towards the Cedar del Lago for the second time. Splash out on Doug. Doug now diving it down the inside of Marcello. They lean on each other. There's a bit of contact. Doug trying to do a Sardinia, I think, there, but Marcello hangs on. Right around the outside. Doug now on the inside line. Now running up towards Ferradura. And Marcello still on the inside line. Doug has to give way. And Marcello fights back through for fifth. And Palmer has spun. Palmer has gone off track. Has he disconnected from the race? I'm not sure. He's back there in the lead. I'm honestly not sure what's going on. There is Tice out in front. But Palmer now leads. Palmer's there. He's fine. He leads the way. 1.2 seconds the gap. Gonna smear. It was a little bit of a disconnect on our end. Tice in second. Seal third. Black in fourth. Marcello fifth with Doug in sixth. Splash in seventh. Reds in eighth. Heres in ninth. Superboy 10th. Both for Shadara 11th. Tap in 12th. And Volschweitzer there in 13th position. Look at Mercedes pulling away from the Viper. Run out the final corner. Seal not having a great run out the final corner either. But Palmer does lead, coming through towards the final couple of corners once again. And once you get a gap of about 1.5 seconds around here, it's going to be really difficult to peg back as Palmer sets a new fastest lap of the race. 1.3 seconds of gap. Here comes Doug on the inside line of Splash, trying to defend the inside line. In fact, both for Shadara and Superboy side by side. There's contact in the background. Was that Doug right into the back of Formula Marcello? I think it is. Marcello is round. Marcello is round. So unfortunate. I think he got contact unless he got caught on the grass on the outside. Really difficult to see that. We were focusing on the action at the time. Black right on the back of CO for third and fourth. Doug now through and up to fifth. Marcello's had an absolute disaster. I'm not sure if he got caught on the grass there, but we'll have a look and see that later on, possibly within a replay. Splash right on the back of Doug, run up the hill. Black has been let through by CO, so CO now into P4, Black up to P3, Doug, Splash, Reg right on the back, and Reg is looking competitive in that BMW as well. 4 minutes through, here at the Autodrome of Interlagos. It's Palmer who leads, from Tyson second, Black third, CO fourth, Doug fifth, Splash in sixth, Reds in seventh. This is the man you're on board with currently, Reds, as he now comes through. Once again at the top of the hill from Pico to Plateau, then down Mugolo, and down toward Young Cow. Splash right on the back, you can see Reds fighting the Tice as well, out on track. Black has already got onto the back of Tice. So Black already on the back of Tice, Team Simpact against Team Sidemax. And this is going to be quite interesting because Palmer's 2 seconds up the road, Tice is in second, and Black in third. Black is going to have a go here at Tice. Down towards turn 1, he needs this to try and get the move done. He's on the outside line, coming through towards the SRS through 1, 2 and 3. Right around the outside through turn 1. Leaves him plenty of room. What a move that is by Black. That is why he's the defending champion out on track. That's why he's the championship leader. Tice is going to try and fight it back though through turn 3 and on the run down towards the seat of the Lago once again. Tice now on the inside line, fighting back grimly. The Dutchman, the Swede, wants to close the door on him. Tice is still there on the inside. They've got to give each other room. This is great racing between them both, and Black hangs on for P2 because it's forced out wide slightly by Tice. And now Tice up the hill toward Ferradura. Can he get the run like Alonso and Trudy did in 2009? Hopefully there's no contact. Seals right on the back as well. And Team Simpact have got Tice right in within a TSR sandwich, right out on track. Doug there in fifth, still fighting off the attentions of Splash. Red in 7th, Hairraiser 8th, both for Shadara 9th. Hairraiser, by the way, 5/10th penalty. Of course, penalties can be served between turns 3 and 4 out on track. So basically through the centre masses and then through out on track as both for Shadara gets very close to the back of Hairraiser there for 9th. Superboy 10th, Tappan 11th, Volschreiter 10th. Marcello is fighting back into this. He's now on the back of the struggling Aston Martin and the Volschreiter, who had a really good race last time out, of course, in the Chevrolet Corvette. Now changing, of course, to the Lexus. That's another change that I forgot to mention later on, earlier on in the session. Seal, though, right on the back of Tice. And now Tice defends to the inside line. Can Seal try and get a dummy? 8/10th improvement there from Seal on his personal best. He tried to go flooring it, ran right around the outside. Tice off camber on the corner. Goodness me, they're so close to contact, but Seal floors out the corner, parks it on the apex. Beautiful move. It's like Black. But it's like Black S there from CO, and he's spoonies up into P2. The TSR drivers know how to fight. Tice now has to come back though. Can he get the run possibly down in towards the seat of the Lago for the 5th time? No, he can't, and CO is through and he's up into P3, and Tice now down into P4. Splash is trying to fight around the outside of Doug. Doug still hanging on in there with Reds in 7th. Both for Shadara, by the way, I think got the move done on Superboy further down. That thing that was through turn 1 is now Splash around the outside on Doug. This is in towards Ferradura. This is a bold move if he can pull it off. One ball with Reds, who's running in the act as well. But Doug and Splash have to give way, and Doug replaces them for P5 once again. Splash in P6, Reds in P7. The racing is pretty hard and pretty fair, to be honest, out on track. Much improved from the last 2 weeks of Sardinia and of Monza. Splash right on the back of Doug. We're nearly 10 minutes through the action already. It's Palmer who leads from Black in second. You can see there on the mini-map, Palmer's got a good gap, probably about a 1.5 second lead. We'll have a look on board. It's actually a 2 second lead, so my apologies. Palmer does lead by 2 seconds, just under now, from Black in second. Tice now closing up onto the back of Seal once again, and Team is quite powerful around this track, but I don't think it's powerful enough to see him get this move down the inside and towards turn 1. Yeah, he backs off. And Seal for P3, Tice for P4. I think we might be on for 2-stop strategy, possibly out on track tonight as well from some of the drivers. 3-stop might be the way to go, I'm not sure. Haven't really driven around this track since last season. Reds right on the back, lagging a little bit, but that's what you expect from an American. That's now Splash, cuts the inside line, trying to get Doug on the run up towards Cedar del Lago once again. Doug just puts that car in the middle of the apex. Really good defensive driving there from Doug. And now Reg, right on the back, has got to be very careful. Gets boxed in slightly. And now Splash is going to try and get the run up Ferradura to try and get the move done. But Doug hangs on. Red's so close to the back. They're inviting in Bo Shadara as well. That McLaren is quite powerful around this track here as well. And now he's up into 8th. Let's see how Marcello's getting on. Marcello having a fight with Tap. I think he's just got the move done, in fact, has Marcello on Tap. He's steaming up into P12, so Marcello recovering well from his earlier spin or earlier contact, whatever we have felt, certainly it was. I think it might have been a little bit of touch on the grass, and that's just simply as that. Ty's trying to close in, but it's this battle for 5th that we're going to focus on in more detail, I think, now, with Doug, Splash, really fighting the tyres. Just looking at the awareness of the tyres as well, Splash is much more confident, I think, on the tyres. He's wearing away those tyres less than Doug ahead. Redden behind is around the same level as Splash as well, so these two look a bit more superior in terms of the tyres compared to Doug, and now Splash is going to have the run down as the sun glints towards turn 1 once again. Splash on the outside line, Doug around on the inside line coming in towards turn 1. Doug's went too wide, and this invites Reds through as well, and just like that, 2 for the price of 1. Splash Thuning's up to 5th, Red Thuning's up to 6th, and both Shadara's on the inside line trying to take my sort of line. He gets caught on the grass, forces Doug out wide. Doug is now going to come back. I think both Shadara might let Doug through as a result of that. I'm not sure. Down in towards, as Doug tries to fight around the outside. Both Shadara still there on the outside line, but Doug was just trying to come across. He spun the car. Goodness me. Really aggressive racing going on, but fair play to Bo. Not going to take anything away from him there as he tries to go down the inside of Reds, in fact, and this is down in towards the SA section up in turn 8. Can he get the move done? This McLaren is so powerful through the corners. He's going to get the BMW done very easily indeed. He cuts across, just slams the door shut, a little bit of contact. That's what you like to see. Bo for Shadara putting on an absolute driving masterclass. He's through and he's up into 6th. Reds is through and he's up into 7th. Doug is through and he's up into 8th. And I saw a little bit of a glitch moment there once again with Palmer possibly. But Tice is on the back of CO. Really good racing. 10 minutes through, Palmer leads. Black 2nd, Seal 3rd, Tyson 4th. We should get about 30 odd laps, I think, out of this race here tonight. As now Tice closes in. Not going to be on the extent of 89 laps that Bahrain saw tonight. And I won't ruin the result for you if you haven't watched the Formula 1. Tice right on the back, but he's saving up the fuel. Down in towards turn 1. Looking at the fuel consumption, actually, Seal looks like he's managing his fuel better than Tice, which is a really good shout. Red just trying to go around the outside of both for Shadara. And just hung out to dry there, I think, the BMW. Got to be careful on picking up the penalties. Really being aggressive through the corners, but that BMW was like a tank coming through the corners, and rightfully so. He just picked up a 5-10 penalty. He has got to serve it up down this part of the track on the same lap that he picks it up, and he hasn't. So Reds might be in with a little bit of chance of a penalty as he now serves it up just slightly on the brakes coming through turn 4. There are points on the track where you will be able to serve up this penalty, and as long as we see this, then I think it'll be absolutely fine. Further down the field though, it's a right old battle going on. Doug has now lost the position obviously to Superboy. That's about another mistake out on track, and now Volschweitzer and Marcello are right on the back of this, and Volschweitzer down the inside line, tries to get the move done. A little bit of a tap there from Harrison, and Tap, speaking of which, is just trying to latch onto the back of these as well. But a 5-way battle for 8th possibly could be developing out on track as well. Volschweitzer very late on the brakes. Marcello tries to get it down the inside. He's trying every opportunity to try and get this Viper past on the Lexus ahead. It's right on the back. Is he going to go down in towards Junkel? Brilliant move. If he can pull it off. No, he's gone too wide, I think. Marcello tries to get the move done. Black is into the pit lane. Black is into the pits. Really early indeed. This is a really weird strategy now from Black. Doesn't pit it up. He goes on for a fresh set of soft compound tyres. And he's going to come out relatively in clear air. I think he's done this to try and get a little bit of clear air so he gets more speed, essentially. But he's going to be coming out around about red sort of area, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's Splash to the right-hand side. It's actually Splash that he's going to come out ahead of. Superboy has left the room. That might be a disconnect on his end. Palmer, though, dominating now in front. This is the Palmer of old out in front. The softs really do begin to go off around this track. It is quite hard on the tyre degradation, but Palmer leads. Seal 2nd, Tyson 3rd, Splash in 4th, and Black trying to go for an undercut here, possibly on Seal, possibly on Palmer as well, but he's got Splash to deal with. And this is the opportunity for Palmer, I think, to pull away, because Black is going to try his utmost to try and get past here. Up in towards the Pico de Pato section, tries to go around the outside of Pico de Pato, in fact, and doesn't think. But Splash is just going to annoy Black to the extremity that Black is going to get frustrated, and Splash will try and win. There's a Good battle going on further down the field as well. Volschweiter down the inside line of Doug. Gets the move done. He's up into 8th position. I think Superboy was running in 8th when he disconnected. Red's right on the back of Bullfish Adara, but now Black right on the back of Splash. He's probably thinking, where on earth has Black came from? But Black is down the inside line, gets the move done through the final corner, and has got the move done, and he's up into P4, out on track. Not sure what the blue flags are about. We're coming down in towards turn 1. Red's right on the back from Marcello, and Volschweiter going side by side. That Viper is so quick in a straight line, but that Lexus is good on the brakes. Doug, not so good on the brakes. Careers into the back of Marcello, and again, just his driving standards maybe of Sardinia getting in the way of his progress through the field. For Marcello, though, right on the back of Volschweiter, and I think Doug just backing off slightly. Is he saving up on the field? Those tyres look absolutely shot, if I'm going to be honest. He runs wide again, does Doug. Perez is trying to get onto the back as well. Tap there in 12th, but Palmer leading. Black, by the way, through 9.1 seconds a gap, so the gap is beginning to come down, and this is Black's advantage now to try and get the undercut on Palmer. 9 seconds is not that big around here. It's probably the length of a pit stop, if I'm going to be honest. But because it's the inside run through turn 1, Palmer's going to have more of an advantage than Black actually thinks, and I think Palmer is doing a fantastic job. With 15 minutes to do the action here, Palmer leads the way from Seal there in 2nd, Tice there in 3rd, and Black in 4th. Splash in 5th, trying to hang on to the back of Black, in fact. Bullfish Adara in 6th, Red's in 7th. Red's having a real squirrely run out of Jun Sao. And Palmer into the pit lane from the lead of the race. So we'll see his pit stop. Palmer into the pit lane. Puts on a fresh set of that Pirelli Super Soft compounder tyre. And with Seal and Tice also in, it means that he's going to fuel up a little bit. 63 litres of fuel. That is Black coming through turn 1. I think Black's going to have the run through turn 1, and Black's going to be ahead. So Black on less fuel is ahead. Splash is ahead as well, but Palmer is in clear air. And that's what's the difference. He is in clear air, out on track, and he can now put the hammer down on more fuel. I think Black has underdone this strategy, and he's going to have to make, possibly, an extra pit stop as it comes towards the end of the race. Superboy once again has joined the room, possibly just to watch on. But for Adara, Volschweiter, by the way, 77 litres of fuel for Volschweiter. He's lost 2 positions to Hairraiser and to Doug. These are coming out the pit lane in 10th, 11th, 12th. So the final positions out on track. Oh, Tice. Got Marcello on the back of him, but nothing really going on. It is Black who leads the way. He's got about 40 litres of fuel, I would say, in that car left, probably just under that amount. And he's pulling away from Splash. But Palmer, with a 9/10 penalty, obviously he's got the corner somewhere out on track to pick up that amount of penalty. And again, he just cuts the corner through Jun Sao, and he doesn't want to do that too often, so he might pick up an extra penalty. The penalty situation, of course, the penalty serving will happen down in towards turns 3 and 4. Through that point, so out of the exit of turn 3, Cover del Sol, and then through on the Retro Posta, down in towards the Descida del Lago, and that is through, of course, turn 4. Palmer, though, has got a clean crack as Splashes came into the pit lane. 3.6 seconds the gap. Black leads from Palmer 2nd. Red's there in 3rd. Red's continuing on. He's got shot tyres, but he's got Seal right on the back of him, and to be honest, this is looking like a job done scenario for Seal. Red pulls off to the left-hand side, and he's feeling like he's got to defend the position. Seal up in the first sector, purple. And Reds just makes that BMW look like an absolute tank out on track. That's the word we'll use for that car, I think. CO right on the back, gives him a little bit of a hurry up there. Slight bit of a tap, tries to go down the inside line. But Reds is just there. He's just defending the position for his life at this point. And this is going to unsettle, I think, CO more, because Tice eventually is going to be catching up. Now, these guys aren't within a party, Reds and Tice, I must stress. But Reds is going to be holding up CO to a point. Like Black did, like Black was happening with Splash, who came out ahead of Bullfish Adara, by the way, and CO nearly tapped the back end there. But look at the gap. It was 2.7 seconds, what, a couple of corners ago, and it's now, what, 1.7, 1.6 seconds? CO getting held up big time. Reds are sliding that car through the final corner of Jun Sao. And now up the hill, CO's going to get a superior run right around the outside through the Sabina Dos boxes. And Reds, I think, might be coming into the pit lane possibly for a new fresh set of rubber. No, CO is through. CO through and he's up into P3. Red's lagging slightly, but now 1.3 seconds separating. Reds is going to go for a move down the inside. He makes contact with CO. This is just bringing Tice into play. The more contact these guys made, the more it's going to be quite interesting. Bofashadara is through on Splash, I believe. Volschweitzer is looking quite closely with Hair Racer as well. We need 20 minutes through the action. Volschweitzer on the inside line. Lexus against Mercedes. Late on the brakes goes the Swissman. He's down the inside. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. He's through and he's up into P10. Really good, clean driving standards here tonight, which is great to see. This track we love to have on the calendar in the SRS GT3 series. And Hair Racer now trying to fight onto the back of Volschweitzer. They're still for 10th position. We'll try and give you as much action as possible out on track. Hair Racer now trying to dive it down the inside of Volschweitzer on relatively fresher tyres and on more fuel. Has just disposed of Hair Racer quite easily there, and he can now chase down Doug 2 seconds in front of him. Volschweitzer up into 10th. Looking further down the field, Tice now getting held up by Reds. Reds has a massive moment coming out of the top of the hill section through Pico de Pato. And now Tice, is he going to go for the move down in towards Junsao? No, he runs wide, does Reds, I think. And now Tice on the inside line. Oh, Reds is all out of shape, and this is going to invite Tice through down the inside line, and job done. Even before we get towards the start-finish straight, Tice is through, and he's up into P4. But that BMW is going to fight back. As highlights, of course, the characteristic of Tice in that Viper. Of course, with him changing to Viper from the Mercedes, it does bring about a better pace angle from Tice's perspective, and he holds the inside line down in towards turn 1. Reds honestly needs to come into the pit lane. He's got a good strategy going on about him though. He's going to be coming out around Bofashadara area. There's Bofashadara just in the background of shot. As Reds runs wide coming out of turn 3 through the centre S's. Marcello's there in 6th, Splash 7th, Bofashadara 8th, Doug in 9th, Volschweitzer is 10th, Hair Racer 11th, Tap there still going around in 12th. Black leading the way though, 3.6 seconds. Look at the fuel situation. I think Black possibly is eyeing up a strategy where he's got to go 100 litres of fuel and then go for Splash and Dash towards the end of the race. I think that might be his call. He might come into the pit lane about halfway through that stint and then go towards the end of the race on that strategy. I'm not sure. I think he is preparing up though to come into the pit lane very soon indeed. If not, it'll probably be within the next 3 laps, I would think. Might even be this time around. Black leading the way out in front from Palmer there in 2nd. Palmer is eating into that advantage slightly. He's getting 2 tenths currently on this lap. Seal there in 3rd, Tice there in 4th, Reds in 5th, Marcello in 6th. Really getting close down by Splash though. And now the Mercedes against the Dodge. However, we like to see this battle in the SRS GT3 series. Black has continued on. Splash right on the back of Marcello. And Marcello now has got to defend for his absolute life. He comes into the pit lane, in fact. So does Red. So Marcello trying to undercut. He's got 15 litres of fuel. No wonder he's came into the pit lane. So he's into the pit with relatively short tyres. This is his first pit stop, I believe, out on track as well. And now he's got to refuel up that car. I think it'll be to about 70 litres of fuel, if I'm not mistaken, to try and go 20 minutes to the end of the race on a set of softs on relatively high fuel. We should see him come out of the pit lane any second now. And I was nearly spot on. 85 litres worth of fuel. And he comes out, I think, it's going to be ahead of Tap. Tap is coming through turn 1. Yeah, so Marcello's going to be out in 11th, Tap going to be out in 12th. Black getting close down again. Palmer's got better cornering speed, I think, through this track. He's closing in. The tyres are fresher. Black now still going around on that set of soft compound tyre. Relatively fresh set of soft compound tyre. But he's realised that obviously Marcello's came into the pit lane, and that side max strategy is going to be to try and undercut CO possibly later on in the race. But Black leading the way from Palmer in 2nd position. There are fights going on further down the field, but we'll see if Black is going to come into the pit lane in this lap around. No, is the answer to that. He's going to continue on for at least another lap. Palmer there in 2nd, Seal 3rd, Tyson 4th. Top 4 relatively even spread out, to be honest. Splash there in 5th, has pulled away from Bofashadara. Then Doug in 7th, Reds in 8th. Volschweitzer in 9th. Reds, by the way, came out of the pit lane relatively fresh. And having that BMW can try and chase down Doug. Of course, Doug and Reds were certainly part of the same team, part of Speed Demon Motorsports within the SDM vs SMM event a few weeks ago. nearly a month ago, I think that now is. And Red's trying to close down on Doug, 1.7 seconds. Bull Schweitzer there in 9th, Hellraiser in 10th, Marcello 11th, Taff in 12th. Taff has got a penalty, which he'll serve up through turn 3 and 4. Between that section there, out on track. Black pulling away slightly. 3.6 seconds. I think he's been saving up a little bit of fuel, and that's why he's now putting this hammer down. 3.5 seconds was 3.2 last time around, and now Black begins to respond. He wants to try and set in an in-lap that is going to save her. Look at his lap times, they're relatively good. 30.3 is fastest lap on lap 10. Lap 15, 30.7. So they're only wearing away at about 2-3 tenths maybe per lap. As he now dips under to 10 litres of fuel, Black now going to really struggle his way around. But 3.2 seconds of gap. He runs wide coming through Junsao. Palmer there in second, 3 seconds of gap. It is going to be inevitably that Palmer is going to lead this race. Black, I think, will come out ahead of CO, and he's still continuing on. So he at least goes for another lap. 25 minutes in, and Black still leads the way, but Palmer is going to close. CO there in third. Personal best lap from him so far. Across the line he comes, set a new personal best, 30.6. Tice there in fourth. Splash there in fifth, Bo Fitzgerald in sixth. Bo looking quite tight down to the back of Splash. Duck there in seventh, Reds in eighth, Bull Schweitzer in ninth, Hellraiser 10th, Marcello in 11th, and Tap there in 12th position. We'll run a ball with Bull Fitzgerald in his pursuit for Splash. Remember, coming into tonight, both of these guys, Splash and Bo Fitzgerald, Splash had 44 points coming into tonight in fifth in the standings. Bo Fitzgerald had 24 points. So there's a 20-point difference between these guys. There's not much of a points difference between these guys out on track currently. And Bo through the first sector tries to close in on that Mercedes. Mercedes and McLaren, of course, two stalwarts of the manufacturers. And of course, within the real-life GT3 series, the Blancpain GT3 series, that these two are in, McLaren and Mercedes. Mercedes is probably going to be the stronger car in that series, I've got to be honest. But it looks like Bo has wrestled now onto the back of Splash. We should see Black come into the pit lane as well this time around. 2.9 seconds the gap. So less room for error here possibly for Black as he now makes his way into the pit lane with about 2 litres of fuel left in that car. And 3 litres of fuel in fact in that car. Black then into the pit lane, inherits Palmer into the lead of the race. And that is him coming past us. I think Black might come out behind Tice. If I'm not mistaken, he's going to come out into that window that you're seeing on the top right hand side of your screen. He's going to come out in that window there. He could even come out behind Bo Fitzgerald and Splash actually. So this could be quite close. I think he's just going to be fine on the exit through turn 1. But Bo and Splash are going to be carrying the overspeed here. So this is going to be quite interesting. If Black comes out ahead of these guys, it's game on. If he comes out behind one of these guys, which I think he is going to do, there is Splash, and there is Bo Fitzgerald, and he's going to have to try and cut across on Bo. Bo is just going to let him in there. So Black P5 out of the pit lane, and that is not what the doctor ordered out on track, because Black, inevitably Splash is going to be coming into the pit lane, but he's not going to be coming into the pits for a good 3, 4, 5 laps maybe. And Black has got to do this the hard way. Round the outside of Ferradura, trying to go up the hill now into the SA section. But Splash doing a good job in 4th position. Black there in 5th. Bo Fitzgerald in 6th. The more that Black gets held up, the more Palmer is going to street away out in front. 15.9 seconds is the gap. Palmer's going to be coming into the pit lane very soon indeed. I think respond now and save time later on in the race. That's what I've got to be honest. If that was my call, I would be into the pit lane this lap around. But he's not coming into the pit lane. Seal there is not coming into the pit lane either in 2nd. Tice trying to close up in 3rd, and Tice, I thought was going to come in there. But now Black right on the back of Splash. Oh, he gets caught on the inside curve, nearly doing a DeResta there. As now down the inside line, Viper against Mercedes, really level pegging down the straight. I think Black has got this move done. Down the inside he goes. But Splash is there on the outside line. They're fighting aggressively hard, and Black carries through, and he's up into P4. Splash in P5, Bo Fitzgerald is in 6th. There he is, right on the back of these guys as well. And now Splash tries to get onto the back. He's got a good run now, running down in towards the seat of Interlagos. Splash to the outside line, not going to hang on. Black doing well now in 4th. But he's got 15.9 seconds to gain on Palmer. That is the gap between him and the potential second position out on track. Palmer's just dominated this race, I've got to believe, out in front. Splash still on the back of Black, I should say. Comes wide slowly, gets a better run towards the SA section of Black. I think has now got P4. Further down the field, Bullschweitzer trying to get onto the back of Doug. This is for P8. Reds is coming back to these guys as well. So Doug trying to get onto the pace. Bullschweitzer there in 9th, Marcello 10th, Hellraiser 11th, and Tap in 12th. You could probably ignore them for now, but we'll focus on this battle for 8th, maybe even for 7th as it develops out on track. Reds there in 7th, Doug 8th, Bullschweitzer 9th, and Marcello rounding off the top 10 out on track. Good to see some support, by the way, here from the side max guys. Marcello, he had a little bit of a spin. I'm not sure what happened, if I'm going to be honest. See you into the pit lane from 2nd. Not sure what happened with Marcello actually out on track. It either looked like he got caught on the curb on the outside coming through turn 1, spun the car around, or it was just a case of he got hit by somebody. I didn't see it. We cut onto that quite late on, but now Marcello's got a superior chance now to try and get Bullschweitzer. This is for 9th position. And this is actually going to be for 8th position because Doug is into the pit lane as well. And now Marcello on the outside line, trying to get the move done. I think he has got this move done. Bullschweitzer very late on the brakes on the Lexus, trying to go on the inside line. Coming now through the SRSs, Marcello gets the move done. Brilliant stuff. They gave each other plenty of respect there. Marcello, a world away from his driving in Le Mans, remember that aggressive driving for the SMM versus STM event. He's learned his ways and he's up into P8. Great move on Bullschweitzer for P8. And Reds has got a penalty, and he hasn't served that up again. And obviously drivers are going to take notice of where they've got to serve the penalty. CO, by the way, has come out in 6th position. CO is down in 6th position out on track. They're going for a splash and dash sort of scenario. Palmer should be in pit down, I think, this lap around. He's got about 4 litres left in that car as he now comes up the top of the hill. But he's got a superior gap over Black. It's about 15.4 seconds. And this could be actually quite tight as I say that. 7 litres of fuel for Palmer left in that car. So he's got more fuel. He's got less fuel actually to serve up on. Tyson to the pit lane from 2nd position as well. He's got 6 litres of fuel. Black is there, but Palmer should come out the pit lane very soon indeed. He should come out the pit lane around about now. Yeah, there we are. But Black could be ahead of him. It could be side by side coming out the pit lane here. It's going to be so close. I think Black is going to have a superior run. He's going to be into the lead of the race. Splash is trying to follow on through as well. And Palmer is going to be behind Splash. So Black absolutely masters the strategy. And he's into the lead of the race. Splash now into 2nd. He's continuing on. Palmer is out in 3rd. A good promising scenario for Palmer. He's 2.4 seconds off the back of Black. And now, with halfway through the race, it is game time now for the front 2. Black, Splash, Palmer currently our top 3 as we are more than halfway through the race. Seal there in 4th. Tice fresh out the pit lane in 5th with Reds in 6th, Marcello 7th, Bullfisher Dollar in 8th. Tap now up to 9th, still continuing on with Doug in 10th, Hairraiser 11th, Bullschweitzer recently into the pit lane. And I think he's going to be out ahead of Hairraiser here. Bullschweitzer out the pit lane in 11th position. Black though, 1.9 seconds the advantage. See in terms of the field, Palmer actually trying to fight on the outside of Splash, coming towards Jun Sao at turn 12. Is he going to go for the run down in towards Jun Sao? No, I think commit the move. Commit the move down the inside. It was there for the taking, but now he's going to get a superior run up the hill through the Sabino de Boxes. And Palmer now right on the back of Splash. Mercedes against Mercedes. And one of the Mercedes backs out. And Palmer now, 2.6 seconds. He's got to do things himself. And Black leading the way. 2.7 seconds the advantage from Palmer there in 2nd. Seal now up to 3rd. Tice is in 4th. There is Splash there into the pit lane for Team Lithuania. Into the pit lane he comes. We'll see where he'll rejoin out. I think he'll rejoin possibly in the mix between Doug and Tap. I think he's actually going to come out in a relatively clear air moment behind the likes of Marcello and Bullfish Dollar. So actually, it's quite a promising position for Splash coming out of the pit lane. 97 litres of fuel. That seems to me he's going to try and commit for Splash and Dash right towards the end of the race. He's going to rejoin in 8th position with Doug and Tap fighting down towards turn 1. Tap on the inside line. Look how the move done, but Doug really under pressure. Just recently came out of the pit lane, I think, Doug. So Tap trying to retake the position. But he runs out wide, and look at how Tap is going. Goodness me, he's nearly off to Columbia there. Doug, 9th position. Tap in 10th. Bullschweitzer 11th. And Harris in 12th, and that's what you get for running out wide. And you can't really serve your penalty into the braking zone. And Tack now has got to do it the hard way. He's got to serve up his penalty next time around. So unfortunate, but that's what you get for running wide. Reds trying to close in on the back of Tice. Reds will come into the pit lane very soon. And of course, new driver into the championship for I think 1 week and 1 week only as far as I'm aware. We might see him of course as we come across the season. Marcello though is beginning to gain right on the back of him. Viper against BMW, you would imagine that the Viper is going to be quicker down the straight, but Reds doing a good job. This BMW is quite quick, and Reds now feels the need to defend down in towards someone. It's not going to be a Daniel Ricciardo-esque sort of move here from Marcello. He's miles back to try and get a move done here. And Reds will hold on to P5. Marcello running in P6. And I've got to be honest, Marcello, his strategy later on in the race is going to be quite good, because I think both Shadara, Splash and the likes might have to come in for Splash and Dash. Marcello is on a strategy here for possible P5. And given that he spun, I think, through turn 1 in the opening few laps, he is doing a masterful job. He really is, and he's nearly into the back of Reds. Goodness me, that was a complete cock-up of his braking zone there. And Reds, 5th position, Marcello 6th, both for Shadara now. Just trying to latch onto the back in the slipstream. He's 1.1 seconds off. Splash there in 8th, Doug in 9th, Tap 10th. Tap serving up his penalty. It's the first time I've actually seen somebody serve up a penalty correctly tonight, which is good to see. And there's Volschweitzer in 11th. And now we're in 12th. Gap for the lead, 2.1 seconds. Black will have superior pace down the straight. But look at the fuel scenario. I think Palmer is running about 15 to 20 litres of fuel excessive compared to Black. And that is the response from Palmer. New personal best out on track. He's only 900ths off that fastest lap of the race that Black has set. 130.3 out on track. Palmer through turn 1. Runs out wide. He might just pick up a penalty for that, possibly. He's on the limit there. Black certainly running out wide there, and that might be a penalty for Black, as he ran out wide there coming through turn 3 even. And now through Junsao once again. Doing a good job though, Black out in front. Palmer there in 2nd. Seal 3rd. Tice 4th. With Reds in 5th. Marcello right on the back now of Reds. And this is the Italian against the American. And he tries to come back into the slipstream. I think he might just be too far back. Reds runs onto the grass. It's going to give Marcello a good run. Ran the outside in towards the seat of Interlagos. Trying to get the move done. Not quite. I think I said Junsao for that corner earlier on. Marcello trying to fight through Casino Interlagos. But I've got Bo for Shadara right on the back of these two. And now Bo in a promising position, with much better fuel, much better tyres, is now in a fight for P5, possibly out on track, with Reds defending to the inside line. Marcello on the outside line. He's right on board with both Shadara's point of view. That McLaren is eager to try and get through on the Viper, who tries to get the run up now towards the SA section. He tries to cut to the inside line. A little bit of aggressive defending there by Reds, but Marcello through. A little bit of a desync going on between them both. It's not great to have two desyncing drivers right beside you. Marcello lagging about all over the place. Reds there into 6th now. Both Shadara is in 7th, but job done. But look at Marcello. His connection might be just beginning to ebb away. 23 minutes to go. Reds also not looking too great in terms of connection, but Marcello's in 5th. Reds in 6th. You can see Marcello trying to defend down in towards turn 1. On board with both Shadara's point of view. Reds is closing in the gap. Don't think he's going to be close enough though down in towards turn 1. And yeah, that's Sun really difficult going in towards turn 1 now as the time evolves. Marcello through into P5, one of the weirdest overtakes you might see all season, but he's through anyways. He's up into P5, Reds into P6, and Palmer is latching onto the back of Black. It's about 2 seconds the gap, I think, now out on track. We'll come on to them in just a second. Reds goes for the dive down the inside. Marcello just invites him through. Didn't think he realised he was going to get the car stopped, but Reds did, and Reds has got the move done. Now Marcello tries to fight back. Both for Shadara tried to latch onto this as well. Splash is not too far away from this either. These three really aggressively fighting is bringing Splash into play. And Splash, remember, pitted in on that 97 litres of fuel, and he's going to be in the most prominent position out of everyone here. It's as simple as that. Both for Shadara, 7th. Marcello 6th, Reds in 5th. We'll cut to the lead, 1.2 seconds. Black now to Palmer. Black really beginning to struggle as Palmer eats into that advantage like a hungry vulture out on track. Palmer really begins to bring gap, but just begs the question actually. Black, I think, is fuel saving out in front. I think he might be fuel saving out in front, and that means Palmer, he's probably running mode 1 at this stage. Black probably running either mode 2 or mode 3. Palmer eating into the advantage, 1.2 seconds. This for Black later on in the race could be quite disastrous, if I'm going to be honest, because if Palmer keeps on closing this gap as he is doing, it's going to be quite close. Speaking of quite close, Reds, Marcello, both for Shadara down the inside, trying to get both of them down in towards turn 1. Level and aggressive defence again. Reds getting caught out on the curb. Now Marcello has ran the outside through turn 1. That was a great move on both for Shadara. And now, Splash still onto the back of these guys as well. Marcello having an unpromising run. Now down towards Desida del Lago. Both for Shadara trying to go around the outside of Desida del Lago. Marcello nearly got boxed in, but they remain as they are. Really good racing here in Interlagos with 20 minutes to go. Red's fighting for his life in P5. Marcello will have to pit soon, and both for Shadara down the inside in towards turn 6. Gets the move done. Gap was there. Fair fight there for Marcello to try and get it moved done, but those tyres are shot. Those tyres look absolutely shot, especially on the fronts rather than the rears. And both for Shadara is running all over the place now. On the back of Reds. Reds defends really well though. He parks that BMW to be as quick as possible. And then Marcello trying to go around the outside of the corner before Junsao. Oh my goodness me. There's Splash involved in this as well. Splash just came from absolutely nowhere. We panned the camera back through turn 5. And now Splash right on the back of these guys. A 4-way battle for 5th. I would imagine one of these guys is at least going to come into the pit lane. But now, we could have a 4-way down in towards turn 1. And we are going to have a 4-way possibly down in towards turn 1. We take this from Splash's perspective. Formula Marcello now trying to cut to the inside on. The gap was never going to be there. He tries to find now on the outside of turn 1. And Splash gets Marcello down the inside. Really aggressive racing. It's just becoming a little bit too much out on track, but Splash on the inside line trying to fight the car, and he's now got them both. But here comes Marcello back. It's 3 wide running down towards the Desida del Lago. Somebody's going to be sandwiched in like a packed lunch here. Marcello, both for Shadara, late on the brakes. What a move to get both of them. Both for Shadara. That is an absolute insane late braking move down on the outside line through the Desida del Lago, and he gets the move done, and he's up into P6. Marcello's trying to fight this back, but my God, 3-way down in towards Desida del Lago. Both for Shadara has actually just been overtaken by Marcello on the outside. Marcello fights him back at you there. Splash right on the back of this as well. This is an absolute insane battle. I don't care about the leader of the race at the minute. Palmer run on the back, I think, of Black, and then side by side down in towards turn 1, and Palmer gets the lead. Palmer gets the lead of the race. How's that for timing? Down the inside line, gets the move done on Black, and Black now has to struggle around an extra lap to try and get the fuel. Palmer now leads. Seal there in 3rd. Tyson's closing in 4th as well. Reds, Marcello, we're back on board with this battle. Reds has got to dive into the pit lane now, surely. And yes, and now brings a 3-way battle for 5th. Marcello, both for Shadara. Look at the speed now of the McLaren on the back of the Viper. The Viper has got to defend, but Bo is just so late on the brakes. He can get the car stopped, and that is a beautiful move. Down the inside line, in towards turn 1. And he gets the move done, or does he? Marcello now fighting back. Splash in the Mercedes, trying to fight back on this as well. Real hard tussling racing here in SRS tonight. Marcello right around the outside in towards the Desida del Lago. Both for Shadara cuts the door shut, and he's into P5. Marcello now up towards Ferragura. Can he get the move done? Trying to find onto the outside line. My God, it might be aggressive racing, but this is honestly probably one of the best battles I've seen all season. This is absolutely insane. Hats off to all of these guys for giving us a fantastic battle. I really hope you guys as viewers are enjoying this race. Palmer now leads. Black will come into the pit lane with 1 litre of fuel left in that car. And now, I think he's got to fuel it up to about 70 litres to get to the end of the race. Be careful on his fuel, and he should be out of his ahead of his teammate, maybe ahead of Ty Sear as well. We'll see. down in towards turn 1, and what I've just said there is completely false, because he's going to be behind both of them out on track. We'll see Black coming out the pit lane. Yeah, 69 litres of fuel, appropriately 69 litres of fuel out on track. Back on board with the battle. Marcello into the pit lane. Marcello in, 1 litre of fuel left in his car. Black just out of the pit lane, just there in 8th. Red just came out in 9th, and he's got Lexus of Volschweitzer, who will come into the pit lane, I think, next lap around, right on the back from him. Now Volschweitzer in the quicker Lexus is going to come have a go down in towards turn 1, in towards curve R1, out on track. Red's on the inside line, Volschweitzer across the outside line. They give each other room, or Red tries to come across, but Volschweitzer again late on the brakes. He lets Red's through, I think, though, and Red's through, and he's up into 7th position, I think. So that is Marcello just on the right hand side there, coming out the pit lane. So that is Volschweitzer now up into a P8 out on track. Marcello is down, sorry, into P9 I should say, out on track. Red's in P8, Marcello down into P10. Can he get the car stopped? Yes he can. Volschweitzer having a good race, but he's just done the 10 litres of fuel out on track. Splash and both for Shadara. This battle raging on from Sardinia here tonight, and it's a really good fight out on track. We've got Black, Tice, Seals. Tice might come into the pit lane this lap around. Seal was in, Tice doesn't respond. So Seal was into the pit lane. He's got 3 litres of fuel left in that car, and with 15 minutes to go, it's game on. Palmer will come into the pit lane this lap. Tice will come into the pit lane this lap. There is Black coming down towards turn 1. Black will have Tice, certainly. Will he have Palmer? It's 20.5 seconds the gap. And he's on fresher tyres, but I doubt that Black is going to win this one. I really doubt that Black is going to win this one. Palmer leading the way. He's up the hill with about 7 litres of fuel, I would say, in that car left. Doing a fantastic job. I honestly hope to God that you guys have been enjoying this race out on track tonight. I certainly have. Sharon, you've missed everything. Go and watch it back from the start. You've missed absolutely everything. You came on board with a good battle, I've got to say, between the likes of Marcello, Volschweitzer and the likes further down the field. But Palmer leads the way. Hopefully no Christmas lights getting switched off. He is 14.2 seconds out in front of Tice. But there is the man that could potentially be in the leaderless race this lap around. Palmer rounds the final couple of corners once again. Will start lap 31 in the lead. But now he comes into the pit lane. Let's watch his pit stop. Comes straight into the pit lane. 14 minutes left. 5 litres of fuel remaining. And Black is only coming out of Junsao. I think this is Palmer now nigh on settled for the victory. And this will be worthy of last week's disconnection from Monza. Tice is into the pit lane. Black is coming down through the final corner. Palmer is easily going to be out in front. He's going to have about a 3-second advantage, I think, coming out the pit lane. He's on 59 litres of fuel, and Palmer is going to be out in front. Black's strategy has not worked whatsoever, and Palmer now leads the race here in Interlagos with 13 minutes to go. But do not discount that man out there in the Viper. He's going to be about 2 seconds off, running down in towards the Cedar del Lago for the 31st time, and he's on the purple first sector. So now 1.9 seconds is the advantage between Palmer and Black, and because Black is in a quicker car, this gap is just going to close and close and close. Not only that, they're both pretty much on the same amount of fuel. There's only about 2 litres of fuel in it. It's going to be a fantastic end to this race. Palmer leads from Black in second, Seal third, Tyson fourth. Splash there in fifth. Going to struggle, I think, to get the end of the race. Splash, possibly. He's got just under 50 litres of fuel left. We might struggle to get that car home. He's really on the back, though, of Tice. Fifth and fourth, now in the melting pot. Both for Shadara sixth, Reds in seventh, Marcello in eighth, Doug ninth, Volschweitzer 10th, Harris in 11th, Tap has been lapped, I think, by the leaders now. As Tap comes out in 11th position, I think. He's ahead of Harris, yeah. So he comes out in 11th, he hasn't been lapped just yet. Harris in 12th, but Palmer though leads the way. 2 seconds the advantage. Black in second, Seal third, Tyson fourth. We'll watch this man here. Right on board with his bumper, in fact. Splash, right on the back, trying to make an impact, quite literally. The Mercedes, now on the back of this Viper, but look at the Viper, it's just trying to eke out that last bit of performance out on track. to try and go. You can hear the clonking of the gears as we ride on board with Splash. He runs out wide through turn 1. That is an opportunity slipping away now for him to try and get the move done for P4. That is the man there in P5. Right on back, you hear the tyres squeal for life as the traction ebbs away, as the tyres ebb away. Splash is still in a promising position. If he can get this field to the end of the race, then hats off to him, because he's going to be in 5th position, and it's going to be another superb drive from the Lithuanian man out on track. But for Shadara's then, Peter, ignore the rest of the field, because this is the battle we want to go on board with, and Palmer's pulling away. 2.3 seconds the advantage. There is the man, TSR, T5 Black, our current championship leader. I think no matter what happens here tonight, Palmer is going to be still closing on Black for the win. Certainly here, Black, 2.4 seconds. But a never say die attitude possibly could be happening out on track. Palmer, let's just reflect on what happened last week. He disconnected from the race, joined me in the commentary box with 20 minutes to go, absolutely heartbroken, and he now leads with 10 minutes to go here at Interlagos. What a way this would make up for having a disconnect last week. Palmer leading the way from Black in second, seals on for his personal best coming through the final corner. Palmer, by the way, set the fastest lap of the race, 30 flat, 30.1 I think that was from CO across the line in third. I think he might have settled third. Tyson's now settling 4th, I think. The Splash there in 5th. But for Shadara in 6th. Marcello's starting to come into this as well. He's going to have plenty of fuel left to the end of the race. Reds as well, they've overfueled completely. But this might be the closest battle now out on track. 7th and 8th out on track between the American and the Italian. And you would have imagined that the Vipers of Tyson Marcello would have made more of an impact here, because they changed the cars quite literally last minute before the race began. They changed last minute today in terms of the race, less than 24 hours before the race begun. And to be honest, if I'm going to have to say this, I don't think it was the right move. I do not think it was the right move, especially around the track like Interlagos, where the Mercedes is going to be so much quicker. That's why Palmer stuck with the Mercedes. And I absolutely agree with his decision to stick with the Mercedes out on track. But this man here, sticking with the Viper, is on the back of our newcomer, STM Reds. Of course, Reds commentated last season in the SRS GT3 series. I was a driver last season. He was commentating over me. It's now a completely different scenario. We've role reversed. There's now Marcello, right on the back, coming through SA. Sorry, coming through Barra de Pato, in fact. And now Marcello down the hill into Junsao once again through turn 12. I really hope that the Brazilian corner names have been pronounced right to anybody that might be fluent in either Spanish or Brazilian. There is a pit stop happening. I think it is Tap that has came into the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. Here comes Marcello though, on the back of Reds. Oh, Reds comes across on his line. Marcello's not going to be a happy bunny with that. Splashes into the pit lane. It was Splash, in fact, into the pit lane. And now Marcello cuts to the outside line. He's not going to be happy with this. Can he settle around the inside and towards turn 1? No. I think he's not happy with Reds now. After making that late lunge across the track. Might just be investigated, that one. But now Marcello has got to try and play Reds at his own game. Reds now will defend for his life. Marcello is going to be granted the outside line. Coming in towards Interlagos, he's late on the brakes, but again he cannot find a way through. He tries to go for the undercut through Interlagos. Another run up towards Ferradura. It's going to be a sensational run up towards Ferradura as he's now on the outside line. Red fighting for 7th with Marcello. Marcello right around the outside of Ferradura. Can he get the move done? Through turn 6, now through turn 7, then at the top of the hill towards S8 turn 8. Switches to the inside line. He's getting over aggressive. He fights his way through. He's going to have to give that position up, I'm afraid. If somebody's in a party with him, tell him to give up the position. Marcello's through and he's up into 7th. But that is not the way to fight. I said play you at the own game, but we've got to keep that level of cleanliness out on track. A little bit of a decent going on there perhaps as well, but you never know. Marcello up into 7th. Reds down into 8th position as a result of that dive bomb. I'm going to call it down the inside in towards Barra de Pato at the top of the hill. And Marcello through and he's up into 7th. It was through SA, sorry, he got the move done. Marcello through and he's up into 7th. Right there, 8th, Doug 9, falls right to 10th, Tap 11, hair raiser rolls into the pit lane, and he's in 12th. But that man there, Palmer, is 7 minutes away, possibly 4 or 5 laps away from winning this out on track in Interlagos. And this would be An absolute insane drive from Palmer. Black questioned his strategy, pitting in 15 minutes into the race. That's why you question strategies. His strategy call, wrong. Completely. Palmer has got it correct, has got it absolutely correct. He's in a car that favours the corners rather than the speed. And this Mercedes has really just excelled around this track here at Interlagos. And now the gap is 3.1, 3.2 seconds now. The gap is just extending out. He may as well just run in fuel mode 2 to the end of the race and still win this. He could still win it. 3.2 seconds. Black there in second. Seal third. I think he's wrapped up third now. Tyson fourth. Splash there in fifth. Has to come into the pit lane. Possibly going for a fastest lap attempt. And through the middle sector, he's 600th down in his personal best. Both Jadama there in 6th. Marcello there in 7th. Has pulled away now from Reds in 8th. And in all intents and purposes, I think Marcello's move was a little bit aggressive down the inside. But Reds, in terms of the tyres, I think they were going to go off anyways. So Marcello probably would have got through anyways. And he's up into 7th. But I'm sure the stewards will have a look at that one if needs be. If any incidents do get reported, of course, the Discord is there. Instant log within the Discord is the place to put any sort of video footage, and I will of course review any footage as well as the stewards in this race. Red's there in 8th. Doug Run by himself there in 9th, still doing a good job as the old guard, as we like to call him here in SRS. Bull Schweitzer in 10th, Tapping 11th, Hairraiser in 12th, but that man there, Palmer, is 5 minutes away from winning his second round of the season, because he won in Brands Hatch after a Black mistake. He's now going to win because of a Black strategy call error. It's as simple as that. Palmer is going to win because of Black's failings again. And strategy call is not much of a failing than a mistake at Brands Hatch, but trust me when I say this, Palmer's just dominated. He's third in the championship coming into tonight on 51 points. He's going to be outscoring Tice. He's going to be retaking second in the championship as long as those Christmas lights don't interfere for the next 4.5 minutes. Palmer leading the way from Black in second, Seal third, Tyson fourth, Splash fifth, Bull in sixth with Marcello in seventh, Reds in eighth. He's trying to fight those tyres right to the end of this race. Doug there in 9th, Bull Schweitzer 10th, Tapping 11th, Hairraiser in 12th. Hairraiser I think has made a mistake somewhere out on track and has lost second maybe. Might have had a penalty in fact. Hairraiser in 12th. Tyson into the pit lane. Tyson into the pit lane. Fresh set of rubber. And he knew, I think, he wasn't going to get CO. And that's why he came into the pit lane. He's got a mile advantage over Splash of probably about 9 seconds. As Tyson now P4, Splash P5. Yeah, it's going to be about an 8-second advantage, I think, down in towards Junsao. Or through Casino del Lago, in fact. Tice there fourth to settle for that. I think we're seeing our podium sitters as we are. Better get them invited into the party now, to be honest. Palmer leading the way. 3.5 minutes to go. We are going to have, I think, 2 more laps of this race, if I'm not mistaken. So, when the timing goes down, we should have, we might eke out 3 laps here, including this one that we're on. We might have 2 more laps after this one. Palmer will lead the way across the line to start what will be an ultimate lap of the race. From Black in second position, and Black comes into the pit lane. And he feels his tyres are going off. He's into the pit lane. He's going to come out easily ahead of CO. And that is him now settled for second. And that's what we're seeing. I think Tice came into the pit and he saw Tice come in. He had the gap advantage over CO. And now Black comes out in second position. Pretty easily indeed. And that now hands the win to Palmer. Palmer now, he could go into the pit lane, to be honest, and he could win. Simple as that. He could come in for a fresh set of soft compounded tyres and he could win this race. The gap is now 12 seconds, the gap between himself and Black. It was 10 seconds, I think, in Brands Hatch after that mistake. And Palmer has done a fantastic job out on track. He's just controlled this race from the outset. Really controlled it from pole position. I believe he won here last season as well. Looking back in the archives, I think he won here last season. And he's just driven the socks out of this Mercedes. It's as simple as that. If that Mercedes had socks, he would drive it out of it, quite literally. Palmer, though, out in front, and is just trying to hang on out in front. He's pretty much got this now at his grasp. He's got plenty of fuel to get to the line. And this will be the start of the final lap. I think the front three are going to be onto the final lap of the race, if I'm not mistaken. It might be quite tight actually for Black coming across the line. Palmer across the line, 1 minute 41. It's going to be really close for Black to come across the line here, possibly. And that means now, Black across the line on 1:30 dead on. So Black is going to have to push to try and get another lap out of this race. So we are pretty much now onto the final lap of the race, I think. And Palmer leading the way, 1 minute 20 seconds to go. There's nothing happening further down the field. Marcello trying to get onto the back of Bo Fischer-Dara. These are going onto the final lap of the race for 6th and 7th. Viper quicker than the McLaren. Thinner line, taking my line through there is Marcello. Now down the straight, down the hill in towards turn 1. And he's not going to be close enough here. Red's there in 8th. Fighting the car, Doug in 9th, Full Schweitzer 10th, Tap in 11th, Hellraiser in 12th. But Palmer coming through SA once again. And with 45 seconds to go, I think he's going to eke out another lap. I think Black, because of him closing up onto the back of Palmer by a little bit, he will get another lap out of this race as well. But it's this man here, Palmer, round towards the final couple of corners for Jun Sao to start what will be lap 40 out on track. Palmer leads 10.7 seconds and he will come across the line. 20 seconds to go. And Palmer will come on to the final lap of the race, certainly for him as the leader. Black will be second, and I think he'll get another lap out of this race as well. Palmer with 10 seconds. It could be quite tight actually for Black to come across the line. He might come across the line on 0 here. The game might not think of him this way, and Black comes across the line just in time for the start of the final lap of the race. It is going to be CO across the line to finish in P3, and he picks up our first podium position out on track. The other two, of course, to be decided. Tice across the line in 4th. Disappointing from his perspective, I think. He drove the socks off that in the first stint, just got outdone by the strategy of CO in the end. Splash across the line in 5th. Now, Splash has driven a really good race. Splash across the line in 5th. But for Shadara hanging off Marcello for 6th and 7th. Across the line comes Bo Fischer-Dara, Marcello across the line in 7th. Red on his debut here in the SRS GT3 series for this season, certainly in 8th. Doug is going to be coming across the line in 9th. He runs the final couple of corners and is about to come across the line. We'll, of course, interview our top 3. So Palmer, Black, Seal, get at the ready if you're now tuning in. Doug across the line. He stops the car. And Paul Schreiter across the line in P10. Good drive from him. Tap in 11th has outscored Headraiser. So I think this is the first time actually Tap has actually outscored somebody out on track. So Tap across the line in 11th. Headraiser across the line in 12th. But here comes your race winner, Palmer, around the final corner, through turn 15 for the final time. Palmer is your winner here in Interlagos. Fantastic drive from him. Black closed him down all the way. Is trying to get the fastest lap attempt. He can try and close on Palmer. Can he get into the 29s? No, he can't. He comes across the line in 2nd. And Palmer takes the win in Interlagos from Black in 2nd, CO in 3rd. Same old 3, I think, in the interview room when they come in. But it is Palmer who does take the race win. Pole position, fastest lap, clean race as well. Pretty much a grand slam of grand slams right there. Qualified on pole position, of course. And he takes the win out on track. And let's get our top 3 in. Palmer could just join the party because I'm now commentating in his party pretty much. He can just join whenever he feels. But we'll invite the guys in to our party once again. Unless I've got a party with these 3 up already, then I can just do it from there. But I don't think I will. I'll just type in their names and hopefully they'll all come up. So we'll get T5 Black in. And we'll get CO in, of course. And Palmer, probably very excited, I think, with that result. We'll get him in as well. He can just join up, as I say. And we'll certainly get CO and Black in as well. Really good race there. Good aggressive racing, I think, throughout the whole entirety of that race. The battle for P5 was absolutely insane. Both Fischer-Dara and the likes having a really good battle further down. Really great action out on track. And next week, for all intents and purposes, we go from Interlagos here in Brazil we go to Fuji next week. Fuji Speedway for round 5 of the championship, and that is, of course, the one where I think we're going through the right-hander and not the chicane this season. So that could be quite interesting out on track. And then, of course, Bathurst, Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, and then Spa to end off the season. Who doesn't like a grand finale in Spa? But we do have our pole man and our race winner right here. It is SMM_Palmer. And Palmer, from the disaster that was last week with your mum turning off the Christmas lights, that must make up for it at least.
Yes! I am so happy with that. I'm sorry. I am so happy with that. You know, the Mercedes just came alive today, especially after the last 2 rounds where it felt absolutely awful. And then, of course, with Tice going over to the Viper, of course, it was good to prove him wrong. That the Merc still has it in the car. But yeah, to be honest, I think that's probably the best I've ever driven around Interlagos. You know, to get that 1 minute 30.0 without slipstream as well. I'm really happy about that. You know, it came to a surprise. It came as a surprise as well because during qualifying I struggled to even get a 1 minute 30 point. I mean, not qualifying. Sorry, practice. Struggled to get a 1 minute 30.7. So to be like 7 tenths faster, and even in qualifying, you know, to get that 0.3 and 9 thousandths ahead, it was quite slim margins against these 2 guys. You know, of course, I knew that I would already have an advantage because, of course, T5 pitted, and he was like 1 or 2 laps earlier on. You know, so I knew it was sort of out of sequence in a way. Then, of course, it was nice to have that little cheeky overtake as well. But yeah, overall, really, really good race. I'm really happy. You know, it's good to have my old self back driving the old Mercedes again.
Yeah, the Mercedes, I thought, was the strongest car out on track tonight, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the Vipers just went into a corner and never came out, if I've got to be honest, out on track. And obviously you go into second in the standings as well, ahead of Tice. That must now put the pressure on Black, who I'm sure we'll get an interview with just now.
Aye.
Oh, I'm asking Palmer that question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, with the disconnect last weekend, and of course with Sardinia not really being the best race, of course it's going to be quite tough to get back that gap. I don't really know what the gap is from me and T5, but you know, hopefully I can keep this run going. You know, of course, the last 2 rounds, of course, the Mercedes hasn't really felt the best, but it's just, you know, something sparked in the Mercedes again, which I'm really happy about. And, you know, hopefully, I don't even know what track is next, actually. But,
Fuji.
Fuji, awesome. Yeah, hopefully the Mercedes does well there. Of course, that long straight is going to be very, very tough with the power of the Viper. You know, especially with 4 of the Vipers on the grid. It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, hopefully I can keep this winning. Well, I don't want to go at a streak because, you know, of course I had 2 bad races, but hopefully I can keep on winning this season. And yeah, hopefully I can get that championship.
Yeah, I think that Mercedes actually is going to do quite strongly as well around Fuji. And talk about Fuji next week. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because you've got, I'm just trying to work it out, I think you've got a gap to Black of, I'm trying to do quick maths here on the spot, Black, you would be on 133 points, and Palmer, you will be on, just trying to calculate, no, 85 points. So it's quite a sizable margin. How do you think you're going to try and overcome that margin?
Yeah, of course it's going to be quite tough, but, you know, I think especially after the down that I had in Italy, well, in Monza, you know, of course, I felt like I said, you know, I felt like I drove the best I've ever driven today, and hopefully, you know, of course, you know, I want to keep that up. And Fuji, I think, is quite a strong track for me, and you know, of course, the Mercedes is quite good out of traction zones. It's very good on traction, but of course we don't have the chicane in the middle sector, so you know, of course that will probably put a spanner into the works. But but yeah, hopefully, of course, I can get the good traction out of the final sort of couple hairpins and that, you know, to keep that gap, because of course that long straight is going to be very, very tough to keep, I think, any car behind, you know. And you know, of course, going on to I think it's Bathurst after that. You know, of course, last season, obviously, me and T5 Black had a really, really good battle there, and the Merc seems to be very good through there. Of course, you know, the Viper is going to be very good down the Conrod Straight, but you know, hopefully my middle sector is going to be good enough there. So it's just going to be maximising the corners on all circuits, I would say, and seeing how it goes during the straights.
I'll correct myself before I move on to Black, because I know he's probably going to come at me and say those points are wrong. They are wrong. He's on 123 points, not 133. And Palmer, you are on 85 points, just to run through my quick maths there. You can tell I failed my maths GCSE. There you are. Black then, you finished in second here tonight. It's still a really good run because you haven't finished out the front two so far this season. You're still the championship leader. Talk us through your race.
Oh, yeah. It's all over the track, understeer, big red banners. Yeah, that's what the Viper felt like on this track. Mega understeer in the slow corners. So yeah, I lost maybe 2 or 3 tenths before the last sector time to Palmer every lap. It was hard. I did try to go for the fastest lap in the end, but no. Couldn't do.
Yeah, it was a good race from you, I think. That move, I think, down in towards turn 1, which I nearly missed and I beautifully came on board with on the stream, that was a move that I think decided the race.
What move?
Down the inside, Palmer down the inside and towards turn 1.
Yeah, I didn't want to fight him. He had better pace and better tires as well, I think. I did try to catch him in the slipstream, but he just pulled away. So, and my next lap after that pass he did was my pit stop. So I think I will lose more time if I should fight him.
Yeah, and obviously looking ahead to Fuji next week as well. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because you've got to try and find that third win of the season, I think.
I do like Fuji. I do like Fuji with a chicane at the end, not the short version we're doing. But I think it's going to be a good race. The Mercedes is good around there. I haven't driven with a Viper around there so much, so it's... No, I don't know what to say about that. I'd like the track. I will do what I can to end in the top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see what happens next week. We'll move on to CO as well, who finished in P3. And Team Simpac do extend their championship lead, of course, within the team standing. CO, talk us through your race for third.
Yeah, it was pretty much a struggle from the start to the end. I have a little bit of a headache and I went to sauna and my eyes are a little bit, so I was thinking of not driving, but I felt straight away that I couldn't keep up pace with Black, so yeah, I was just driving.
Yeah, and obviously with that race, it came quite hard, to be honest, because you were in a position, I think, at one point where I thought you were going to get undercut by Tice. Tice, in the end, finished behind you. Did you have any worry from him during that race?
No. I thought he was a little bit slower than me. Fuel saving a little bit. So I felt like when he came close to me, I just put a little bit more throttle, but it was pretty even. But yeah, no, I didn't think he was going to.
Fantastic answer to that question. Moving on to my final question as well, and we'll wrap it up after this. Fuji next week. Obviously, we've heard from Black about his thoughts. How do you think you're going to go on around there?
I absolutely have no idea how good the wiper is on Fuji. I know the Mercedes is good and like the track today. I told Black before, this track is a Mercedes track, this one we were driving. But when I saw the times on Palmer, and I was thinking, maybe can put in the training. I don't know. But he got it.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of practice and a lot of training going into next week, of course. Thank you, Palmer, thank you, Black, and thank you, CEO, for those fantastic interviews. As always, great to hear from you guys. And thank you to everyone for tuning in here tonight for the SRS GT3 Series Round 4 of the Championship in Interlagos, won by Palmer. Next week, of course, we go to Fuji Speedway without the chicane, so don't practice the wrong track for the rest of the week, and don't come on Sunday night saying, oh, you've practiced the wrong track and you've got literally no practice at all. I don't like any excuses. I want to see everyone do their best around there next week in Fuji. And that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe in this crazy, crazy world that we live in. From myself, James Head, and from these guys who are in the party with me, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.